Make the most out of your time at work
with Karen Gately,
Leadership and People Management Specialist.
Apply for a job, that can be difficult enough. Doing it through a screen, just that little bit more difficult. Good morning, Karen Gately.
Good morning.
Now, Karen, yes, COVID-19 has thrown up a whole bunch of new things into the workplace in 2020. One of them has been a bit of a change to the application process, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more common, obviously, through this climate. Employers have had limited choice, but I also think moving forward it's going to become more common to be on interview via the likes of Zoom or Teams or, whatever online platform it is. So, sitting in front of a camera instead of in front of a person, I think is going to be something that more of us need to experience if we want to win that next job.
The great thing is we're starting to see a little bit of assuredness coming back to business. It seems like people are getting back on their feet. Businesses are hiring again. On powerfmsa.com.au, we're doing 20 jobs in 20 days at the moment, trying to get 20 locals into jobs before Christmas. But sometimes going through that process, you might not be a local, and the most logical thing to do is, like you said, to do it through a screen. But I wonder, does that make things more difficult because you're not getting that in-person energy? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Look, I think it's definitely part of the equation. And I think in some circumstances when employers don't have choice, so if we think about through this COVID climate where they just needed to move forward and recruit people and even onboard people without physically meeting them, I think it's something that we've had to learn how to do better, if not well, you know. So I think obviously if we can get into the room together and we can eyeball each other, we can get more of a sense in terms of that level of rapport and just how we relate, how the candidate behaves. So I think for both employers and candidates, there's work to do to make sure that if we do need to use video technology, that we're doing that, well, so that we can assess the key things that we need to. So from a candidate's perspective, is this the right place for me, and, do I want to be part of this team? But also, obviously, as we're talking about this morning, how to actually project the right things to the employer.
The question itself actually makes me think about the job interview as a bit of a spectacle, because really your application, the CV, the resume, that puts down exactly how qualified you are. That's got all your experience on there. Now, of course, that can be fleshed out. But as you said, the job application's really about establishing that rapport, which I think it would be harder to do online.
Yeah, I think so. Also what I would say it is about, though, is understand the extent to which and the approaches that people will take in applying their knowledge and skills. So there's not just what we know, it's how we're going to go about doing things.
Yep.
So our CV would demonstrate a background, in terms of those skills, etc. What the employer needs to understand is how are you going to go about doing this job in our environment. So with the challenges that we've got, with the priorities that we've got, with the cultural expectations that we have, how are you going to go about things? So I think it's essential as a candidate that, we can't necessarily control the extent to which the employer can see our character and to see and to build that rapport with us. But we can be very consciously zeroing in on, how have you gone about things and how do you go about things? So what sort of mindsets and behaviours do you bring to your work that allow you to be successful? So, again, the more we can go into that kind of forum or, meeting via Zoom with examples really clearly in our head. When have we made a difference? When have we solved a common problem for a customer, as example?
Yeah.
So, the rapport part is important, and to do that, obviously, we have to be friendly, we have to be on time, we need to be maintaining eye contact to the extent you can via a camera. But what is going to matter the most is the employer's ability to actually observe how do you go about doing your work, and are you going to approach things in ways that we need you to?
Yeah, looking into that camera, that's such a hard one because you're looking at the faces, look straight down the barrel. A couple of quick ones here, Karen. Should you be dressing nicely, so wearing a shirt?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. Again, it's about demonstrating investment in the process and respect for the people that you're meeting with.
Should you clean the room behind you?
We'll try to make it not look like a bomb has hit it. I don't think that's
Just think
the
of
look.
like a spare bedroom that is just the bed's completely messy. And
Yeah.
finally, should you use the virtual background that people have been having so much fun with over the past 6 months? You could put yourself in space, or maybe if you want to appear smart, maybe in the library.
I would use that reservedly. So if the backdrop is not something you can readily change to make it look more presentable, then you might want to use one of those. Otherwise, not.
All right, and make sure your nickname or like your alias name on there isn't something akin to the first Hotmail email address you had when you were 14 and more. Just your first name, last name would probably be good. Karen, hopefully we can get people those jobs through those virtual hiring processes. We're going to catch up with you again next Monday.
Thank you.